The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection and/or prayer. Reading of the journal.
In Senate, Friday, March 5th, 2021, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. Journal of Thursday, March 4th, 2021 was read and approved. On motion, Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions. Messages from the Assembly. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees. Reports of select committees. Communications and reports from state officers. Motions and resolutions. Senator Janaris.
Mr. President, on behalf of Senator Kaplan, on page 24, I offer the following amendments to Calendar 451, Senate 23, and ask that said bill retain its place on the third reading calendar.
The amendment is received and the bill shall retain its place on the third reading calendar.
Let's take up the reading of the calendar this time.
The Secretary will read.
Calendar number 146, Senate Print 591 by Senator Benjamin. An act to amend the public health law.
Lay the bill aside.
Calendar number 149, Senate Print 1578A by Senator Rivera. An act to amend the social services law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 180th day if it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 169, Senate Print 1269 by Senator Brooks. An act to amend the penal law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 120th day if it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 169, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Akshar, Borrello, Brisport, Griffo, Helming, Jordan, Myrie, Oberacker, Ort, Ramos, Rath, Ritchie, Salazar, Steck, Tedisco, and White. Ayes 47, nays 16.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 176, Senate Print 90 by Senator Kaminsky, an act to amend the agriculture and markets law.
Read the last section.
Section 7, this act shall take effect on the 90th day if it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 176, voted in the negative, Senator Brisport, ayes 62, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 221, Senate Print 502 by Senator Breslin, an act to amend the insurance law and the vehicle and traffic law.
Read the last section.
Section 9, this act shall take effect on the 270th day if it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 257, Senate Print 2204 by Senator May, an act to amend the education law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 257, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Lanza and White. Ayes 61, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 322, Senate Print 1728 by Senator Hoylman, an act to amend the Business Corporation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 31, this act shall take effect on the 180th day it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 322, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Akshar, Borrello, Breslin, Griffo, Hinchy, Jordan, Oberacker, Rath, Tedisco, and White. Ayes 53, nays 10.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 323, Senate Print 2940 by Senator Comrie, an act to amend the New York State Urban Development Corporation Act.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 323, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Oberacker, Ort, Palumbo, and Steck. Ayes 59, nays 4.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 439, Senate Print 2976 by Senator Harkam, an act to amend the mental hygiene law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the 180th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Senator Harkam to explain his vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As we know, the opioid crisis continues through this country, and New York State is no exception. Overdose death is particularly pernicious during this pandemic. People are particularly vulnerable when they leave certain congregate care settings, for instance, treatment, for instance, a correctional facility, when they leave an emergency room for an overdose. We want to save those people's lives. This is about meeting people where they are and saving their lives. If someone's been in a correctional setting or they've been in treatment for a period of time, they may come out and their craving is still there, but their tolerance has weakened, and that's why they're particularly susceptible to overdose and overdose death. So this legislation will address that, in that everybody who's discharged from one of those 3 settings will go home with specific information, educating them about overdose, the risks associated overdose, and most importantly, with naloxone or Narcan, which is an opioid antagonist, which is life-saving, along with a further prescription. So this body has responded in a bipartisan way time and time again. I'm proud that colleagues will be joining on this bill as we continue to address the opioid crisis and try to save lives. I will be voting aye. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Harkam to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 439, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Griffo, Ort, and Ritchie. Ayes 60, nays 3.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 490, Senate Print 3372 by Senator Bailey, an act to amend the private housing finance law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect on the 240th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Can we now move to the controversial calendar, please?
The secretary will ring the bell. The secretary will read.
Calendar number 146, Senate Print 591 by Senator Benjamin, an act to amend the public health law.
Senator Lanza, why do you rise?
Mr. President, I believe there's an amendment at the desk. I waive the reading of that amendment and ask that you recognize Senator Borrello to be heard.
Thank you, Senator Lanza. Upon review of the amendment in accordance with Rule 6, Section 4B, I rule it non-germane and out of order at this time.
Accordingly, Mr. President, I appeal the ruling of the chair and ask that you recognize Senator Borrello.
The appeal has been made and Senator Borrello may be heard. Made and recognized and Senator Borrello may be heard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I rise to appeal the ruling of the chair. The proposed amendment is germane to the bill at hand because the bill at hand deals with the public health law, one of many areas of the law that the governor has issued countless executive orders and directives. And I know that my job today is to actually prove that this amendment is germane, but after seeing what we saw on Friday as far as a law that was passed that was hailed by the majority as rescinding the governor's executive powers when it actually didn't, then I'd argue that having something that has to be germane is certainly out the window at this point. We no longer need to be germane because that bill certainly wasn't. The title of S5357, which states, "An act to amend the executive law in relation to the termination of certain executive powers." But clearly that title isn't germane to even the language of the bill, which did nothing of the sort. In fact, it removed the sunset clause and it actually codified the governor's authority indefinitely. So if this amendment is far more germane to this bill than S5357 was to removing the governor's emergency authority, so I ask that this be heard and approved. I know that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle went back to their districts and hailed that they removed the governor's authority. However, all of us in the chamber knows that that bill did nothing of the sort. A straight repeal wouldn't have required weeks of negotiation.
Senator Janaris.
I'm sorry, just a quick reminder to Senator Borrello that he's referring to a bill that is neither the one before the House nor the amendment that is not germane that they are proposing. I would also add that the amendment they are proposing is technically flawed since they're amending law that no longer exists since the governor signed the law we passed on Friday. So in addition to the numerous problems with this process we're undertaking, the amendment couldn't even function the way it was suggested. But your point is that it's not germane. I would just ask Senator Borrello to stay on the question before the Senate right now.
Thank you, Senator Janaris. Senator Lanza, why do you rise?
Mr. President, I would argue that Senator Borrello is making an argument considering the germaneness of the amendment before the House. And to make that argument, he's making the argument by contrast and not speaking directly on any bill that is not before the House, but rather making a general argument about what is germane, what is not.
Thank you, Senator Lanza. I'd like to remind everyone in the House if we could keep the remarks to the point of the appeal. Senator Borrello, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, then the point of our amendment is to truly actually strip the governor of his authority by a simple repeal. It's clear that we are still under his thumb. That's really what the point of this amendment is to truly do a clean repeal of the governor's authority. Because right now, despite the legislation that did pass, our restaurants are still not able to stay open past 11 p.m. You still have to order food with your drink. You still have to be seated, not standing, when you're drinking alcohol. Our students can't go back into the schools because of the 6-foot rule, again, as part of those executive orders. Had we done this amendment in the 21 times prior to this, that this amendment had been proposed, then we wouldn't have any of those restrictions that are still in place even today. So even though this amendment may or may not be germane, I believe that it is, I once again point to the fact that we set a precedent on Friday that germaneness is really no longer necessary in this House. So I would ask that you please approve this amendment and rule it germane.
Thank you, Senator Borrello. I want to remind the House that the vote is on the procedures of the House and the ruling of the chair. Those in favor of overruling the chair signify by saying aye.
Request a show of hands.
Mr. President, we have agreed to waive the showing of hands and record each member of the minority in the affirmative.
Without objection, so ordered. Announce the results.
Ayes 20.
The ruling of the chair stands and the bill in chief is before the House. Are there any other senators wishing to be heard? Seeing and hearing none, debate is now closed. The secretary will ring the bell. Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 120th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris, Kruger, Ort, Stewart, Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 63.
The bill is passed. Senator Janaris, that completes the reading of the controversial calendar.
Mr. President, is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
Move to adjourn until tomorrow, Tuesday, March 9th at 3 p.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Tuesday, March 9th at 3 p.m.